if you don't come next Thursday, I'm coming for you. Because I fed up.
Yeah. It is what our leaders have allowed to happen
100%, I totally agree. We're going to test how much freedom we have in the country right now. So, my audience, welcome to the truth. As a people who has been lied to for centuries, and we still figure, let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Right?
They don't see it as a problem until it affects them.
If you spray the house, they're not coming there.
They
If I
cannot
put
come
old
there.
oil on the wood, they're not coming there.
They cannot.
Okay, so 100%.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. We are back again. Of course, I'm your boy Miss Licks, and we are back for the 7th podcast here on BrBpTV. Welcome, brothers and sisters, to every single one of you guys. And of course, we have yet again another guest who was here previously, and he's none other than Guaye here with us, brothers and sisters. Guaye, you are back on this here BrBpTV podcast. What's up with you right there, bro? What's up?
Greetings. I bless. Trying to get through a mess situation in the cleanest way possible.
I like that. Trying to get through a messy situation the cleanest way
possible. Yeah.
Possible. And of course, the last time you were definitely here and of course talking to us about a number of things that were troubling you. How has it been since the podcast? Since
Very
that time, talk to us about what has happened or what has transpired thus far.
Okay. On a few different levels. So, with the podcast itself, I got to be very honest, I'm very grateful. I got a lot of positive feedback.
Yeah.
And a lot of compassion and empathy and good reasonings and strength from that. I greatly appreciate.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I come back here. Something did happen and change, which is kind of crazy. All last week, which I want to bring up.
But you know, before you even get into that though, maybe might there be some new individuals who have tuned in to see, you know, what's up, what did he talk about? Can you give it a little,
sorry about that.
Synopsis of what actually happened back then and then?
Sure. Sorry about that. So like, not to bore anybody who already knows, but for anybody who just come, forgive me. About a little over 2.5 years ago, the Chinese showed up where I live, and I live for the last 25 years in the same Zion in Hatton Garden. Outside Marigot, between Marigot and Concord.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Chinese have basically put a highway through my land for their industrial works and a bridge in the river and a mine above me, all of which has been ecocided. Destroyed the river, so we no longer have water that is potable to drink. It's too contaminated. 7 days a week from morning to night, they're operating. They're dynamite just destroying the house. And unfortunately, for 2.5 years, they've been taking land without no agreement and ever paying me for the land.
Your land, they've been taking your land. Okay.
For my land.
Yeah.
And I've been desperately trying to get them to actually pay me for the land they've taken or to get injunctive relief, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just been a horror show. So yeah, that's kind of the background on it.
No, you are here today, and we're talking about what has transpired from since that time. Was there any sort of improvement? Has it gotten worse? What has happened?
It's been getting worse because, of course, the construction is continual. But something really interesting happened, okay? I guess it's because they figured that they've already kind of wiped me out financially and put me into debt with lawyers. And the lawyers, as I explained last time, were, let's say, less than ethical.
Not the best.
Not the best would be the nicest way to say it. And so about 2.5 weeks ago, right? Because I so broke, I have to go and hitchhike, go up and down. So I'm Canefield Flat to hitchhike back up Marigot side to go home. And a government tinted up van passes me and then just pulls up about 50 feet higher up and picks up a partner in the back of the van. And then the man who jumps in the back makes a sign to me, like, jump on, like the man telling him for me to come. I don't know who's driving. I jump in the back of the van. And the man who's also catching on, he says, boy, Marcus must know you well. So I'm wondering, Which
Who's
Marcus?
Marcus?
That?
Yeah,
Right, which Marcus? This is Marcus Lestrade. Well, if you remember from the last time,
Yeah.
it's the same man who's been lying in my face and for 3 years almost.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm saying to the other man, I don't understand. I mean, he knows it's me. Me and him are in like I don't know if you'd say war or whatever, but they've been crooking me forever.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Maybe he's checking that's the least he could do at least.
Maybe
at that point in time.
Maybe if he was a compassionate fella, but
Yeah.
the actions haven't really shown that. So
Yeah, that's
so
true.
he's going to La Plaine and I'm going Marigot. So when we reach Pont Cassé roundabout, I jump down and he goes toot toot with the horn and I go, Marcos. And he opens up his door and he starts to call me. He goes, Ras, Ras. And he puts out his hand to check me. And to be honest, my brother, Mr. Alex, like, I'm not checking you, Marcus. Boy, me and you was at war. I want to kill you. You kidding me? 3 years, where's my money? Give me my money.
Exactly.
And what about my home and my home? And
And your livelihood, yeah.
He's like, Ras, no, calm down, Ras. Just touch me, Ras. Just touch me, Ras. What is going on? This is a madman. So I touch him and I go, okay, so what about my money? He goes, no, we're going to pay you. Government always pays. We always pay.
They always pay.
We always pay. I coming up Thursday, not tomorrow. It was a Wednesday. It was not tomorrow. Next Thursday, I promise you. And I look at him and I say, Marcos, I'm looking in your eyes. Look, your mommy is next to you on the side with you. Marcus, I'm going to choose to believe you after all the lies for 3 years that you are coming next Thursday. And I am.
That was which past Thursday?
Thursday.
Last Thursday, Pastor. Okay.
And I will stay at home on the belief that this is true what you're telling me.
Yeah.
But Marcus, if you don't come next Thursday, I'm coming for you. Because I fed up.
Yeah. 3 years. That's crazy.
2.5 years,
2.5
3 years.
years.
I know the exact months. It's like 20 some months.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't had clean water for over 2 years in which I have to carry water every day, miles to get water to myself. Yeah, it's just crazy stuff. Besides the destruction and the health problems and such. So last Thursday, I have 2 young partners who are working by me, helping me to try to open back up land. So I asked them, please make sure Thursday morning you're here so I have witnesses because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I put a notebook on my table in my house with a pen because in my mind I'm thinking, you're not leaving here before we see something on pen and paper.
Yeah.
Because all things you've told me you've never done.
Yeah.
Including last time at the thing when I explained to you in December of 2023, all government people, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Anthony Lawrence.
Yeah. Everybody
was there and they never kept their word.
Yeah.
All right. So about 10:30, 11, a van pulls up. One of the workers see it first, my partner. He says, okay, well, they're coming. I say, okay. I leave them behind. I go to the top of the driveway. Marcus is standing alone in 2 vans. I see it's not just one. Government rides full of man. Marcus walks up alone. He says, good day, sir. Morning, sir. I say, good day. He watches me. I watch him waiting for what he's going to say. He says, okay, this is the proposition. Everything outside of the 14-foot, you can have a surveyor.
Wait. So he did come.
He did come.
Okay. All right.
He did come. And he
So he
stands,
kept his word.
He kept his word that
On
he
coming.
came.
Yeah.
Supposedly to observe the damage, make a negotiation
Assessment,
agreement, assessment and agreement and thing. Which is what I think we're going to start having a discussion about. That's my understanding.
Yeah.
Okay. So he says, what we're proposing is everything outside of the 14-foot feeder road that we've taken, you can have a surveyor measure and we'll pay you for that. And he stops. And I say, okay, Marcus, that's all you're proposing after the 3 years? Okay. I can speak now. He says, yes. I never finished more than one sentence. The only sentence I began was, you know, Marcus, I remember everything you've told me over the last 3 years. And I've documented everything.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Marcus Lestrade puffs out his chest, gets angry, excited, nervous, somehow impassioned. I'm not in his mind.
Yeah.
And he says with his chest to me, you don't know who I am, man. Well, I have all my documents too. And I'm thinking, well, I hope so.
Yeah.
So I call down to the 2 fellas because the man is getting excited. I tell him, brothers, come up here so I can have witness.
Yeah.
He says to me, brothers, you have no brothers here. You want to take it to court, man. And he turns around and he runs back to the van and the 2 vans drive off. And that's the entire meeting. God is my witness. I have 2 men who were witnesses there. He had Mervyn Lloyd in the other van standing about 100 feet down the road watching by the door of the other van. The police in that van and whatever men were with him. And one man who I don't recognize in a shirt who was walking towards us as if to join the discussion. He never even got all the way to us before Marcus had turned around and was going back.
So what was the point of him coming there in the first place?
That's a great question. And here's what I think, and this is my supposition. I'm guessing. I'm not in this madman's head.
Yeah.
And I will say madman because the behavior was not rational. Okay? In that sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe that when he picked me up, they believed that at this point they finally broke in me. That I've been impoverished and indebted trying to get lawyers to honestly represent me, and they've crooked that. And interfered with that.
But it seems like they were successful in doing that, though.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. So they felt it broke you. That's why they came.
So now I would accept whatever
they gave you. Yeah.
Whatever crumbs he would throw me for my own, instead of giving me my rights and what is due me, because it's mine.
But he indicated something. He stated that that you should do the surveying of a particular part
Which was
of the
already
land.
done, right.
But it was done already, and you gave them the figures for that land and.
At the time, it was before further encroachment, but back in December of 2023, when the first big meeting of this happens, by that point in time, the land had been surveyed 3 times. Or
3 times by the same surveyor or different one?
By Coffee, the government surveyor, by my surveyor, Seaman, and by the Chinese-Filipino surveyors of China Railway Number 5. And I must admit, there was also another time when my surveyor came back to further do a second pass-through because of further encroachment. But again, that was in December of 2023.
And there's more encroachment again.
And they're still up until last month. They just tore out my bamboo and threw boulders there to expand the road in that section. Yeah, no, they have no respect for property lines.
Okay, so since the time of the podcast to now, how much
more have they
acres?
taken?
Yeah, how much more did they?
Oh, I don't know the exact measure, and it's not in acres. It's in square
Lots.
feet measurements, right, or squares. But they've taken more than an acre overall already.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't want to say a nonsense. I haven't remeasured each time that they've taken more. What I notice is what they do is every couple of weeks, when they're re-putting stuff on the road for their vehicles to recompact it for their dumpers, they just keep stretching the road wider, so they'll strip a little more.
So why they never decided, okay, we know that it's your land, we know, okay, this is something that we're going to be taking a piece of your land. Obviously, the government can take certain things based on certain measures.
They're rights.
And they have to pay you adequately. But it seems like they have not properly done the studies in the first place to even decide, okay, this is the amount of land we're going to take, an acre and a half. Because it seems like they're taking more and more as time goes by.
Ask the people of Wesley who have seen a steady expansion of the perimeter of what's the so-called airport, which is a base in my opinion. But because, of course, the Chinese are like pourboire. They don't measure, they consume.
So wait. So it's the Chinese that are literally taking the land without any sort of.
Right. There's no Dominican there observing or surveying, and they already tore out my boundary markers over and over again at the beginning of this. There is no oversight. Let me explain something.
That's crazy, bro.
It's all crazy, but like last time, I wanted to give context, and when I read the comments, I realized that many people were appreciative of hearing the big picture context to help understand. Because the biggest problem we have is that we have a narrative of lies that's so complex because nobody's seeing the big picture.
You're right, it's complex.
And it always takes a little truth to sell a lie. But once you can see the full frame, then you can see the lie. It's when you only see a piece of the truth that the lie makes sense. That's why propaganda.
Yeah.
Okay. At this point, the Scarrett regime only has one job, and that is to keep us down while the Chinese finish their job, which is taking us over and using us for their own agenda. There is nothing like a government that's trying to protect our rights
Well, I mean, we can clearly see that based off the amount of foreigners that have come into the country and have decided, hey, we are better than you guys, even in your own country. And of course, that is being given by the very leaders of the country,
100%.
giving the presidents or giving the priority to the foreigners, which is kind of crazy to me. The Dominican
insane.
people should get the priority. I mean, you are Dominican right now, and the foreigners are still coming in. You have land, you have been in Dominica for quite some time, resident in Dominica, and naturalized
since 2006.
Exactly.
And my children and their mothers from here and all that. But that's not my point.
Yeah.
It's not even about individual immigrants or foreigners, to my mind, although there's a lot of parasitic foreigners that have come in the past with very predatory intention.
Yeah.
That's just historical in the Caribbean. But we have a very unique situation right now, which is we are being recolonized by a state, by the Chinese government.
So you think we are really being colonized by the Chinese?
100%. I would put my everything, every bet I have, 100%. By every definition of colonization.
Why do you say that? On the merit of...
Factually?
Factually.
I like fact.
But why do you say that? Why isn't it like... Well, I know when it comes down to things like the Chinese debt trap, they have these kind of things that they tend to do and then they overtake. But it seems like they're not utilizing that measure. I mean, they might be, but Dominica has a number of funds outside there that they can pay off these debts. But it seems like the government is sort of, buddy with them and giving them certain things.
Okay.
Give them certain privileges.
It doesn't work that way in this world. That's just not real. With love and respect, we lost 2 prime ministers. And had this man put in place, and within 48 hours, Taiwan was unceremoniously removed from the country, China was let in, and he declared we were part of one China policy. By definition, that's saying we are now part of the Chinese colony. We are a Chinese colony. One China policy is the policy of China in its empire. Just like if you were part of the Soviet Union, you were a colony of the Soviet Union. A communist country doesn't have friends. It has countries it controls and adversaries. That's the way it always has been.
Don't you think that the one China policy, you mentioned that China might be taking over Dominica. Don't you think the one China policy on the merit is actually just China stating that the countries that once belonged to China, I guess maybe Taiwan or whatever, are actually just under China? Don't you think one China policy is saying that Taiwan is part of China and whatever else country is actually part of Taiwan? What do you think?
Is Africa part of England?
No.
But for a couple hundred years, England said it was.
Yeah, but is England claiming?
Hold on. Is France part of England?
No.
But for many, many wars, look at Normandy, England thought it was theirs.
Yeah.
So it's not about what an empire says. Once you roll over somebody's borders and you invade them, you're wrong. It's not about the narrative of manifest destiny, I have the right to take you over. I don't buy that bullshit at all.
Yeah.
So when we say one China policy, what we're talking about is China saying everything they want to claim is theirs. So the South China Sea, Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, anything they want is theirs. That's the talk. That's no different from any empire in the way they declare themselves manifest to take whatever they want. Ask anybody in their neighboring Asian countries, they want self-determination just like we do. And by the way, it's not like if I think they've taken us over here, they have taken us over here. And any simple observation of who has more rights right now in Dominica shows that.
We're getting duty-free and this in there.
All of it, brother. But most importantly, because I don't want to get distracted in arguments about who's better between different dragons. A dragon is a dragon. An empire to me is
I agree. I definitely agree with you.
Right.
But the thing is, the reason why I asked that question is, though you made the claim that, that China is taking over whatever, if a country that is being ruled by a particular leader decides, hey, I'm going to give my country over to China, who's at fault? Is China at fault or is it the leader?
Both.
Both are at fault.
So let me ask you something. When somebody does something wrong who has free will, is the devil alone to blame, or is they also have a part of the blame?
Well, I think
if you have free will,
yeah,
and you chose to do that thing that you knew was wrong.
Yeah.
Because you wanted something. Okay.
But isn't the person who is doing the wrong the person who is wrong? No matter who you blame for doing it?
Okay.
So I based on
I
that,
understand the distinction. Like for example, okay. Yes, the man who makes the devil who brings up the plan, the guy with the original negative plan, yeah, he's the original one to blame. But that doesn't mean that his accomplices are not guilty. So what you're asking me is the accomplice as guilty as the man who came up with the plan?
But the one doing the action.
But both of them are profiting from the crime. In other words, Roosevelt Scarrett wanted power. He wanted power by any means. He wanted power so badly that he was willing to sell out our self-sovereignty, our self-determination, our independence to China. And that's how he gains power. Let's have no ambiguity about fact. Okay? That is the sin. That is the sin that leads to all of the problems that come after. Because he is the sellout. He is the Judas. Okay? So was Rome wrong? Oh yeah, Rome was wrong. But they couldn't have done it without Judas. They needed an inside man.
Yeah. But if Judas did not do it,
they'd find another puppet. Because there's always a wicked, weak person who wants power, who will by any means, look, when you want something from the devil, well, it's not you. I love you, my brother. When a man wants something from the devil, I don't want anybody confused. I was using the general.
Yeah.
When a man wants something from the devil, he's so desperate that all he could think about is what he wants so desperately, right? He knows what he wants, that he knows he wants it so badly, he's willing to ask the devil for it. What's the one thing he doesn't know? What the devil wants back from him. So when you're willing, because you want power so badly and you want money so badly, that you'll do anything for it.
That person comes from poverty, they're not seeing the way forward, so they decided maybe...
I don't buy it just poverty. It's not about just poverty. There's something psychologically different about Roosevelt Scarrett. Because Roosevelt Scarrett was a child who was hurting a lot and was very sad, who never healed. There's many poor children who have great morality and great ethics, right? And work hard for what they want and achieve great things.
But there are people who were worse than Scarrett and decided, hey,
Sure.
they didn't have to go down that path. So do you think it's...
But hold on a second. Scarrett chose the path he took. Scarrett is a grown-ass man.
Whatever path that is, you blame somebody else or you blame the person for that?
I think that, I'm not... When you say blame, I just want to make forgive me, my brother, okay? For me, there's a difference between trying to find solutions and trying to be the judge to apportion blame. Every bad person was a victim before he became that bad person. Every bad man I've ever known...
Everyone though?
I'm going to finish. Every bad man I've ever known in my life, in all the countries I've lived in, is still living out childhood trauma that didn't heal. And every anger I've ever had in my life came from a sadness. And all evil in the world is undigested sadness. And there's a certain point in which you can heal the person, and then there's a point in which they become so consumed by the rage that they can't come back. And that's the reality. So when you're sad, we can work on the healing that's the cause of the problem. But when you're raging, can't do nothing about it until you get calm again. Let's say somebody has done many acts of violence leading to more rage and more rage. Where is the point in which we hold them accountable?
That is the question I was going to ask you on the we part.
So, from my mind, it's a little bit gray area, but it really is between when you start harming others and you're an adult.
But the people who elect him, though, are they to bear responsibility for what they have created?
100%, but they're not 100% responsible. In other words,
Why?
they have 100% of they've a part of it. Okay, here's what I know. I don't expect my children, for example, that's a bad analogy because big people are not children, but people generally, okay, don't know how to lead. That's why there's only a 1-1 leader. I don't expect everybody to know how to heal themselves. That's why we have doctors. I don't expect everybody to know how to fix their car. That's why we have mechanics.
Yeah.
So do I blame the driver for not knowing what the sound was that was going wrong in his ride and he made it worse? To a degree, but I expect that the mechanic will fix the problem if the man bring it to the mechanic. So that's why you have a mechanic, to fix a problem. Why do you have a leader? Well, people need to fix problems on a big scale, right?
So the people are the mechanic.
No, the mechanic is the leader. The people are driving around their car unable to fix the problem. Okay? Here's what I mean. Not on their local level, not in their personal life. The larger issues, like how you develop policy to create jobs, to develop an economy. How do you make a microeconomy that has to import a tremendous amount, produce enough so it has enough economic heft so it can afford to buy those goods to be a health, right? All of those things is not for the common man to actually know economics, right? We don't expect that. The same way we don't expect the common man to know microbiology to be the doctor, right?
But at least having a basic understanding would actually help you.
Right, but here's the difference. The only job that we don't ask for qualifications is political leadership. So
if
you go to
in this day and age, back in the day, it was required.
I don't know about before I bought, but I can tell you in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know growing up, the people who were political leaders back in the day, they had either they were good in agriculture, they were good in business and this kind of things, and they had certain...
Oh, 100%. Ian LeBlanc was a great man.
Yeah.
Sure,
because
100%, yeah.
because today we have a health minister who is not a health minister, and the former health minister is not the health minister. He's a finance who apparently did not have any doctorate or anything like that in finance. So it's, you understand that.
Right, but what I mean is in a selection process. Because what you were talking about before was the people who voted him in power. That's what I was making the analogy to. So if you're voting for somebody, you're supposed to know what their qualifications are. How you would know that is they tell you, or you see, or the community knows. For example, a man in a community who has been helping out the elderly, who built a program for the youth on his own, and the community says, yeah, we want him for power rep because we see what he's doing. His qualification is his actions.
Yeah,
okay.
That's it.
Our politicians
Today,
presently, do not come from the people, in the sense that they're not people in the community that we see. There are positive people in our community that we propose to push forward. No, we have a political party that chooses the person that they know they can work with, and they present
and they
him
put
to
it
the
on the
community.
people. Yeah.
100%. And then, so therefore, when that party now goes and campaigns, what they're actually doing is pointing finger at the other guy and saying they suck, or they're terrible, whatever. But they're not proposing a policy. This is how we get out of this problem. This is how we solve this. This is the solution. This is how the mechanics of that solution work. Not at all. Because what people are voting for is either the team they like,
The dimples.
right? Or they're voting against somebody. In other words, most of the time, instead of people voting in their interest, most humans, the same reason Trump got elected, most people don't vote in their interest. They vote for somebody who doesn't like the people they don't like.
Well, that Trump thing is debatable.
So-
That's what.
I don't want to go there. But anyways, my point is that we see it in every culture I've lived in, that most people want vengeance more than justice because their pride is more important to them.
But I do definitely agree with you. It seems like because we always consider this to be partisan politics. People always say they don't want to be part of politics,
Right.
but it's not politics. Everybody's part of politics. It's policies put in place to actually help your benefit. But
That
people
would be
always
political,
focus on the
right.
partisan part. Oh, I am blue, I was born blue, I was red, I was born red. This is my team, instead of looking at country first to see the development of the actual country.
100%.
And when that happens, the people lose out. Like you indicated before, people vote against their better interests or best interests.
Let me ask you something. Do you know any politician in Dominica that came from the people? That came
Yeah.
from who?
Well, there's Rosie, that's for sure.
No, I mean now.
Now, well,
killed
Thompson.
Rosie.
Thompson is one of them.
Fountain.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see that.
Edison, James, well, not now, but
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's in power. I'm talking about people in power right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe Thompson. Okay.
yeah.
What I've noticed is that we have a kind of a mafia.
Oh, I get you. You're talking about people in power now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
They have selected to have only their own mafia compatriots.
Wait, I think before you continue, I think we should go back though, because you asked me if I knew any politicians that came from the people.
In other words, where he was doing something in the community in which the people in the community said, "We love the things you're doing.
Okay.
We want you to run."
Because I was thinking Skerrit came from the people too.
No.
But he kind of sidetracked it.
Right.
So
that's a whole other ballgame.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to point out is the fact that the communities are not proposing anybody pushing them up to be in that.
So you think it's a crab in a barrel mentality? You keep pulling the people down?
I think that we have an installed regime that has been entrenched in power since China made its move and put him there. And I think that over time, he has removed all other thinking and other forms of independent representation. And he's crushed the opposition in a way that we have become a one mafia or one party state, which is what allowed Marcus Lestrade to come to my land and to try to intimidate me instead of actually representing the government that he works for.
But maybe he's representing the government and not your interests.
Well, that's my point, is that, okay, but what is a government is supposed to represent the citizenry?
Yeah,
the interests of the citizenry. That's my point. So when he comes and he gets vile with me, or violent, you don't know who I am, man, is what he said. You don't know who I am. And I'm thinking to myself, I know who you are. And I said it to him. I said, I know who you are, and I know who I am. And I know I'm standing on my land, and I know you work for the government. I'm not supposed to be afraid of my representative, and he's not supposed to be afraid of me.
Yeah.
And he's not supposed to want to intimidate me, and he's not supposed to want to be intimidated by me. He's not supposed to avoid the law. He's supposed to represent the law.
Yeah.
He's not supposed to, which he did, make sure that I didn't have a lawyer present before he came. To call somebody to verify whether I had a lawyer there. These are the behaviors.
How did you know that though? That he called somebody?
Because the person called me one time.
Okay.
One time. Because he don't know the people I have. I may be a white boy, but my navel string here, but my taproot goes deep. My children's navel string is here. Like I know everybody.
Yeah.
So my point is just this. It's that my granddaddy used to say, you know when something is wrong because you're trying to keep it secret. And if you don't want it to be public, there's probably something about it that you know is wrong. And if a government is trying to break us down and then come to us privately on a side after they've been not following the same laws that they made and that they represent, and then tries to make side offers instead of following the law, as if they can break you enough and then the law doesn't matter, this is a mafia technique. Now, I'd like to tell you, Marcus Lestrade, I'm not afraid of you. God, I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of you, scared. God, I'm afraid of. But I wonder why they're so afraid of us. Because I'd like to say something. I want to move a little bit over a bit. They're behaving like this because they only have one worry, is how they're going to keep in power.
Why do you think that is?
Because they know that they don't represent our interest. And they know the greedy crimes they've done. And the problem I'll give you both problems. One for the dictator is a dictator has to die in bed with power, otherwise he goes to jail.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But these accomplices and these little petit chefs, Marcus Lestrade and these ministers who have been empowered by this corruption, enriched in a way that they could have never made money like that in any other way by any skill that God gave them.
So you think they were bought?
100%. And I believe that a lot of the money that was supposed to go to us, who the Chinese were supposed to be buying our property, that have somehow disappeared into these people's pockets. Maybe that's why they try to not pay us what the Chinese, because they're caught. They're caught between the Chinese and us. The Chinese put them in power and say, you keep your people quiet, keep them down, because we have things to do. We want to build our base. We want to take minerals. We have things that we want to do for China. You never hear Skerrit say what China wants. You hear this argument about they've come to help us.
Yeah, help build.
Any man that comes to me and tells me all the good thing he wants to do for me, I'm wondering what he wants. Don't you?
Yeah, definitely. But don't you think that the people should ask?
100% every day.
But then the people are not necessarily asking, so I'm guessing they're hoping that the prime minister does ask.
If you hope the devil will become an angel, you're in trouble. What we need, look, when you say the people, the people is not a homogenous thing. We have bright people all the way down to Mumu.
IQ.
Right now we have the whole range, just like everywhere. Every country has the whole spectrum from bright to Tebe. We all have it. Every country, every race, everybody. There's probably the same percentage of people here that are aware of the situation as would be aware in any other country. The question is not about that. The question is about, do the conscious people in the country feel that there is an attainable solution to the problem?
I definitely think that there are people who know that the solution is to, change the government.
That is the only one.
But there's a problem also where the people might feel like if they speak out, they might be victimized.
100%.
So, and I keep asking that question over and over to different people from since the last 2024 podcast to the 2025 one. What could actually help or make the people see that they are the ones that can make the change? Because we still revolve back to the people. Remember, I talk about the mechanic and the car and the people driving and this kind of things there?
It only takes 2.5% of us.
Out of 60,000?
We don't even have that. We only say 60,000 so we can keep that seat on the UN. But because below 60,000 in population, you can't have a seat in the United Nations.
Oh, for real?
That's
Okay.
why we always maintain that.
Okay.
No matter what.
That's probably why he's trying to bring the Palestinians in.
No, that's so he can get money from refugee funds and
too?
corruptly steal more money. Just like he did from the farmer recovery program and the housing recovery program. Because these people don't have any positive economic program. They never had a vision. They had a desire for power.
Yeah. Well, I can see why you saying that. I can see why, because
they're terrified of competent people. Look at over the years. Look, I've been here for 24 years. I have seen endless brilliant people propose great solutions to this government, which they do not accept for the one reason, which is that they couldn't individually profit from it.
Yeah. I've heard many people who came up to Dominica for that sense.
Advantage. I know too many cases.
Yeah.
Too many on so many levels, from extremely wealthy people all the way down to just very intellectual, compassionate people who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
The whole ladder. There's nothing that an incompetent man fears more than a competent man. Because when you don't belong in your position and you didn't earn it, your biggest fear is somebody who could do better makes you look like an ass.
So that's probably why.
That's why they see us as their adversary and the Chinese as their friend.
And they're probably trying to go after Thompson's as well.
My brother, they wiped all of us out who have the intellectual capacity to run a microeconomy and make it benefit us. I assure you, without telling names, I assure you, those of us who actually have the intellectual capacity and the love of country to not be partisan and be patriot, because we are patriots, we believe in people over power, right? Every one of us is excluded from action or contribution to the national progress. Why? Because the government is not representing the people. The government is profiting from China, and its agenda is the Chinese agenda, not ours, which means its job is to keep us down.
But what makes you think that the government is profiting from China? What makes you think that?
Boy. I don't know. Years of life experience, understanding politics, watching politics, seeing corruption in business, knowing that our economy could never have made these ministers have the level of wealth and the kind of houses that they have from their government salaries. Oh, I don't know. Things like the entire national economy has been contracting since the late 90s. Yet the political class is all wealthy. Where'd that money come from, bro?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say the Chinese, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, part of it comes from Russia and the Russian bank, like the Paxum Bank. Part of it comes from a whole lot of schemy deals, the CBI.
The CBI is
But
where I was
all
going
of it,
from.
but hold on. Do you know when you're a mafia, you're open for all business? As long as you get your cut? As long as Papa gets his pay? A mafia is a mafia.
So you think Dominica is running a mafia?
I think the Dominican government runs in a way that resembles a mafia if it's not a mafia. It kind of is like if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, looks like a duck,
The chicken.
it's probably a duck. Could, right? Or a chicken in a really good disguise. But
Yeah.
I call it a duck. I also want to make a point here that anybody who doesn't see that we are becoming more impoverished over the years is blind.
Yeah. Or wicked.
Or wicked. Or that's not they don't see, they don't want to admit. Well, that's different. But yeah, I agree.
wickedness, eh?
Wickedness, 100%.
Yeah.
You're right. I shouldn't make a distinction. But how is it, okay, that a leader can be this wealthy while his country gets more poor?
Yep.
How is it that he feels no shame? How is it that he demands more and gives less? What do we owe a leader and what does a leader owe us is the question. I'm a father. I have 4 children. You know I've never eaten before my children because I'm their father.
Yeah.
If you're a leader and you have a plan and you know better than people, so you're going to lead them in the right direction, you don't take first.
Yeah.
If you're taking first, you're not a leader.
This
You're
is
not
one
a
of the-
father. You're not anything.
Yeah.
You're a usurper.
This is one of the reasons why I believe that the leaders of society should be getting minimum wage.
Oh, you want to hear my theory on this?
That's the
I have a
fastest way to increase
hold on, I have
minimum
a
wage.
perfect theory on this, a perfect program. You're going to love it, my brother. You'll love it. I think that when people were in politics, you vote for this guy, right? He's got a policy that's going to make the economy better. Okay, that's great. This is your salary, your standard salary, which includes all the stipend stuff, basic stuff. At the end of the year, the next fiscal year, when we see if the economy grew or contracted, well, guess what? Your salary is going to
studied.
accordingly. So
And if it goes down, your
2%,
salary-
that's my point. So you're motivated. If it goes up 5%,
exact-
5% bonus. It goes down
I have been
10%.
saying this on my reactions all the time.
Okay, so again, I never understood why we as a people accept that the politician does what nobody else can do, which is go without accountability. If I was a builder and you contract me to build your house and I don't finish the house, you don't finish paying me.
Yeah.
All right? If the house falls down, you take me to court.
Yeah. That's facts.
Right? If I'm a doctor, right, and I don't treat you properly and you lose a leg, you're taking me to court, I lose my license.
Yeah.
Right? I have to pay you, whatever. The only job that we hold no accountability for, magically, is leadership.
Well, I would have to say in Dominica.
Oh, no, I don't think it's unique to us.
Why you say that?
There are more and less levels of accountability in other nations. There are some levels of accountability in other nations. That's true.
Do you think there's none in Dominica right now?
Zero.
Yeah. I have to agree.
Zero. Look, no country can progress without a functioning justice system. Because if a poor man can't take a rich man to court and win, the country never gets better.
Yeah.
Because the biggest problem all over the world is the corruption of greed. So if there isn't a mechanism to hold the wealthy accountable, you can't progress.
And it doesn't seem like there's anything to hold the government accountable.
Right. I mean, our lawyers are the enablers of corruption. They are not the protectors of human rights or justice.
I think they had that talk on the Matt radio station where they were talking about lawyers being engaged in certain things that they shouldn't be engaged in, or they abusing the people's power or taking the people's money. And then when the people are fighting them, or the lawyers are trying their best to see if they can work with that lawyer, or they're trying to just kill the case.
Let me ask you something. Can you sue a lawyer in Dominica?
I never heard anybody suing a lawyer in Dominica.
Can't. You cannot take the representative of your freedom and law to court
Do you
when he
think
abuses your freedom.
Do you think they can't, or they are fearful?
No. I'll explain. The proposition for the law to hold them accountable has been sitting in Parliament for over 20 years. It's never come up for a vote because some of the politicians are lawyers
I heard of
and
that.
they're protecting their own interests.
Yeah, I heard of that.
So, there is a definitive way to do this through a law.
Yeah.
It exists, and they're impeding that because it would hold them accountable. Look, powerful people do not hold themselves accountable.
They live under a different law.
People hold accountable people, hold powerful people accountable by rising up.
Yeah.
Slavery didn't end because the slavers decided, what we're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
Women didn't get to vote because men said, bring them into the voting booth. Women said, we're on the road. We're not in the kitchen until you give us the vote.
Well, don't you think that it was a system that was created so that women could be paying taxes and this kind of things?
To get women voting?
Yeah.
No, women's suffrage was a demand by women.
I'm not saying it wasn't a demand by them, but I'm saying the reason why it was passed maybe it could have been
No.
maybe to
Women,
get them to pay more
the
taxes.
suffragettes, what's called the suffragettes. The suffragette movement was so massive that it shut down cities. Can you imagine how women are very powerful? The whole world is about women.
Would that be different from the feminist movement?
Yes.
Okay.
Long before.
Okay.
Decades before. Yeah. I may be wrong, but I think it's the 30s.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because I know the feminist movement was something
Suffragettes
recent.
maybe in the 20s. I'm not sure. I don't remember. I don't want to say an incorrect thing.
Yeah.
But no, my point being is that the whole reason we're in this mess in Dominica, I think I mentioned it last podcast, but this is really important to reiterate. Scared is a disease. But a body only gets a disease when it's already malnourished. If it's got the proper food, it doesn't get sick.
That's a good one.
This sickness called scarlet, this blood cancer we have at the moment, comes because we became independent late in the independence time, in the decolonialization period. But the countries, whether you're talking Haiti in the beginning of it, or come all the way up probably into the 60s, everybody had to fight for independence. And that meant that men and women had to gather and discuss how they were going to run shit after they got rid of the master. By the time we become independent, our mulatto bourgeoisie were so Anglophile. They so loved England more than the country bookie in the north and all of that. And they so loved European style that the English just gave them common law, like the keys to the kingdom, which are basically common law protects property rights more than human rights, and said, okay, here's the keys to the kingdom. And between the church and the bourgeoisie, there was no movement to create a Bill of Rights and a constitution of the people. So we have a huge, fabulous cultural identity, but we have zero political identity.
I definitely see what you're saying right there.
If we gathered and said, these are our rights, these are our privileges, then to hold them accountable.
There is one of the recent understandings of what you're saying right there is when I heard Melissa Skerry speaking about we are free from colonizers and we are able to do our thing right now. And I'm thinking, well, if you say we are free from colonizers, why is it now that you're trying to push the Mary Jane industry?
Right.
Why is it no? You talk about we are free, and she mentioned that on the paper. I don't know if it's probably Jonelia, that teacher to thing, but you talking about colonizers
the
when
devil
you
knows all the right
colonizers.
words. The devil knows all the right words.
Interesting.
Right? I mean, again, every lie needs a piece of truth. They know the key words of truth to use and then wrap it in a lie. We are a colony of the Chinese right now.
We're trading one for the other.
Our minerals, of course, because look, Marcus Garvey 130 years ago said black man would never be free till he builds his own institutions.
Yeah, I heard that too.
100% true. We don't need anybody else to develop us. We need human development here so that we develop the things that we need for us.
But how can we develop ourselves if sometimes our very own people are the ones keeping us down?
We learn to actually have the courage to punish wickedness.
How do we learn to punish wicked people when the very people are people keeping us down and doing us the very wickedness that we are trying to escape from?
You're asking how long before people actually rise up, and that's
Yeah.
always the eternal question.
Because we keep going back in circles over and over and over.
I
So
hear
it's
you. I hear
repeating.
you. Right.
So how do we free ourselves from that circle if we keep repeating the same cycle over and over? I think one of the problems here is we don't know history.
I think, well, I'm hesitant to say certain things because we all know what needs to be done. And the question is, when do Dominicans actually find the courage to do what needs to be done?
What do you think that is?
You want me to say something that will allow them to prosecute me, and I will not allow that.
Somebody said something very interesting to me, stating that when you look at places like Burkina Faso, how did they get
Burkina
to
Faso, yeah.
Burkina Faso? How did they get to be that way?
How did Sankara liberate them?
Yeah, they had to do a coup,
100%.
but then the people side with the coup.
In history,
Not saying that that should happen, by the way. I'm just
we're just talking facts here.
Yeah.
In history, there's never been a man who seized power through assassination or selling out his country for colonialism that has ever left through an election. That's a historical fact,
That's exactly what was told to me.
right? I said this to you last time as well. I'm sure other people have mentioned. It's common. Okay, so
So do you, well,
there is-
let me not ask that question.
there are non-violent ways of doing this.
Protests.
I don't think it's not really protest. I think more in the way that Gandhi did it, in the idea of stopping things. You see, protest of holding up signs or marching is one thing, but stopping movement is more important. Getting a mass of people to block a main road by the Chinese project so they cannot continue to do their work while having cameras from other countries here.
Yeah.
Okay? So that the discussion happens.
And I think that is one of the reasons why the government is trying to infringe on people's rights for them not to protest, or making the people scared of protesting.
Scared only has one concern, and it obsesses him 24/7: how to stay in power. And that's the only thing.
He has to.
And so by murder, by mayhem, by any means, he wants to stay in power.
So do you think there was some linkage between, and I'm not saying that he did it, just for thinking sake, what happened with Roosevelt?
Let's go. You want to test how courageous I am? And we go test you scared, how bold you are?
Do you think
100%.
Do you think that is a possibility?
I think, and
But that
again,
was a possibility.
we're going to test how much freedom we have in the country right now. So, my audience, welcome to the truth. We're going to see what they do. My ass for telling the truth. Yeah. So, I have no doubt in my mind, in my mind, I have no doubt that the Chinese were responsible for killing Rosie and for killing Piero, and that they waited to kill Piero until they had the agreement with Scarrett that he was willing to throw out Taiwan and let them in.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. And I remember when it came out in the newspaper about his meetings with the Chinese in Barbados that the Labour Party didn't know about. And I remember at the time thinking, why would the second most powerful country in the world meet with the tiniest minister, youth affair and sports, of one of the tiniest countries, most people don't even know we exist, Dominica, in a separate island where his political party didn't know he was having that meeting? I think anybody with an IQ over 80 understands the question that the Chinese asked them. Same thing the French and the English and all other imperialists did. You want us to make you boss? You let us in, we can make you boss.
And it's interesting that you mentioned this. I remember back in the day when the very Prime Minister himself, Scarrett, stated that the Labour Party is aligned with the one world order, the world global order, all these kind of things. I find it very weird that he would say that in Dominica, though. I found it really, really strange.
I don't know. I know.
You heard when he said that?
I remember him saying one China policy once he threw out Taiwan.
But I remember him talking about the Labour Party is aligned with this one
world order or something. I don't know.
I don't think it's new world order, but
one world order.
One world order, or global order, this kind of thing.
I don't want to say a
exactly,
bêtise. I don't remember. I don't remember that, and I don't want to say I don't remember. I believe you. I just don't remember. But you know, like there's only one straight. Everything that's a curve, it doesn't matter which direction it curves, it's not straight. Nothing in this administration is straight. Nothing.
And I think the people can resonate with that, though. I think they can resonate.
Yeah, I mean, look,
one way or the other.
He will say that we are the nature isle while we are actively being ecocided. In other words, like homicide for a man, ecocide for an ecology. Okay. For example, you see Debranche where they're bursting out now, making the crusher just below Debranche.
Yeah.
And everybody's like shocked. What are they doing? What are they doing? But for 3 years, almost 2.5 years, I've been saying they have a copper mine above me. Well, what people are seeing now is now that the pool bois have eaten the whole inside of the wood, now they're bursting out another side. So now that they reach the main road, people are like, oh my God, it's horrible. But while it's going on the whole time, nobody listening.
I've stated this a number of times that there's copper in that area.
Oh, yeah,
I think
yeah.
they were a
I told
foreign
you the
company.
Australian mine. An Australian mine
I think
came
there was a
in.
foreign company that actually
Yeah,
came to Dominica
we've
to
been
try
over
to,
this. We've been over it's true.
to try to do this, and then
And it's not just copper they're after. But look, once again, all Dominicans need to ask themselves the question. Stop thinking, oh, they come to help us. Start asking the question, what do they want?
I think the problem with that, though, is we trust our leaders, even though we've seen our leaders doing things questionable or they're just plainly lying. But some way,
Plainly
somehow,
lying.
because they're a prime minister, somehow we believe that, okay, maybe they will tell us the truth. Maybe they will tell us the truth. Maybe what they're saying is actually correct. Because sometimes you listening to people wait for somebody, an official, to give an official word. And when that person gives the official word, then they say, okay, well, this is the official word from the official, not knowing that the official might be actually lying to you about the very thing that they
It
claim.
amazes me how trusting we are as a people who has been lied to for centuries,
goodness.
and we still figure, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. You know what? If somebody has shot me once, and he shows me that he has no more bullets in the gun, and he asks me to pass him a bullet, I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt, brother.
Yeah. Even if he claims he's not going to shoot you again.
Right. He's still holding the gun. I'm not giving him the bullet to shoot me.
Yeah.
We have to stop cooperating in our own demise, in our own destruction. I wish that these great elders, when I immigrated here, God, I fell in love with so many of the strength of the elders' dignity. All these great farmers of Marigot and Wesley. I mean, great. They would have never allowed this to happen.
That's why I'm saying there's a cycle happening.
Because they had to break our self-esteem before we would accept to be treated like dirt. When we knew ourselves as men, we did not accept to be treated as a peasant.
Yeah.
That I could be in my Bowmans going down to town to National Bank in my Bowmans because I just finished delivering to market. But it's a 20 grand cash I dropping off to NBD. Nobody was taking my dignity, and don't think anybody was going to treat me like a peasant. Now, people are dressed to the nines. It don't cover up the fact that they have low self-esteem because they allow themselves to be treated like a peasant. Don't think you can dress yourself out of this. Don't think you can drink yourself out of this. Don't think you can puppy show your out of this. We have to confront it. Forgive me for cursing. But it gets really, really frustrating because the people before us fought really hard for us to have what we have today. Whether it is freedom or fruit trees, whether it's the mango we meet when we're kids, or whether it's the freedom to be ourselves that we don't even realize the privilege we have. All of that was fought for. And I wish that Dominicans would remember that we have to fight.
But I think that is a human problem.
Yes, we're being
Because
pacified by technology.
Take, for example, the United States. There are people who are trying or fighting so that communism can be no relevant in the United States. They're fighting.
How is that? I think we're about to go way astray if you're going to go with the Mamdani thing.
No, I'm talking about the college students in the United States.
What,
They are
communism?
they are fighting for communism to happen in the United States.
I want an anecdote.
You can Google this stuff, this is
No,
real
I'm saying,
stuff.
But I mean, for many, many years, There's been a communist movement, a socialist movement, democratic movement, fascist movement.
Communism movement.
I'm saying all of these movements have existed for a long time in America, simultaneously to the American experiment. What's really different right now is that since the age of the internet, people have stopped believing in reality as much as far as in the streets reality. And here's a really important thing. Most people want to be socially valid, like to have an opinion that seems correct, more than they actually seek the truth. Because of peer pressure, we want other people to think that we're smart and valid and all of that. And the internet provides you opinions. It provides you opinions on everything, right? But, you know, I said this, I think there's an ancient expression that says, if you search for comfort, you will not find truth. If you search for truth, you may find comfort. Babylon understands that when people are afraid, if you give them a security blanket, they'll just hold on to it. They won't even try to overcome the fear. They'll just clutch the security blanket. So the world is scary, so the world gives you Netflix. The world is scary, so they make more movies. The world is scary, so they give you more alcohol and more drugs. And every weekend, this regime wants us drunk so we don't talk about problems. Yeah. That's the way of Babylon. So sure, we have become less and less active. The more that technology takes over, the more that people get comfortable. Sure.
But it's so strange that people don't seem to understand what is happening to them.
Again, I think they see part of what's happening to them. I think that the biggest thing that's going on now is people feel powerless.
Or they feel so much power that they're doing things that don't work in their favor.
No, I don't mean that. I don't mean that.
I'm saying there's a possibility of that is actually happening.
That may be true.
Yeah.
But here's what I mean. More like this. Like, for example, before 1945, when the Americans dropped the nuclear bomb on Japan, nobody in the world ever worried about some government destroying the planet. They thought about wars or fighting, but nobody could imagine that a human being could destroy creation. But ever since then, in everybody's mind, they know that some madman or could get a nuclear bomb, right? There's worries in the world that make us feel very powerless. We hear about billionaires and billionaires while we are making less and less money. We hear about climate change and the world heating up and all of the climate problems, and we feel powerless to stop it. People's sense of existential powerlessness, of not being able to control what's going on in their life, is getting worse and worse.
Yeah, I agree.
Just like when we were farmers, every one of us felt like a king because we had control over our destiny.
There's money flowing as well.
Money flowing, and if there was no money, we still had food. And if there was, we still had wood to build a house. We had everything.
Yeah.
So my point is that the more that people feel powerless, the more they may be aware of the problem, but less courageous to try to make a solution. So I think what's going on now is that scared has crippled the courage of the nation. He has made people feel intimidated. He has made people feel like they could lose job or brother or cousin or somebody going to be affected, and there's going to be a backlash on them because all of us are connected. We are a family. But, even in a family, if you have a people in your family, you still have to punish them.
To say the P word for YouTube.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
YouTube sensitive.
If you have somebody who is an abuser in your family, you must remove him to protect the rest of the family. No family is perfect.
Yeah.
And we cannot be so afraid to say the truth that we walk into our own destruction. That's what he wants us to do.
But why are so many people scared to do the very thing you're talking about?
In my opinion, just an opinion.
Yeah.
I think most people say
everything we spoke about here is opinion.
I think I think, to be honest, that most people only say that they know God is real.
They don't really believe it.
They don't know it. That you bow to evil when you believe that evil can be stronger than God.
Yeah.
You decide to allow that corruption because you believe that you're not
You
going to be
grow
punished
into
for it.
something
Maybe the
deep,
devil
bro.
is stronger. And so
It is
we
something deep,
know,
that's true.
we know if you really believe in God, if you're willing to stand up to the devil. And right now, don't tell me you believe in the Bible and therefore you know God. Show me that you fight evil, then I know you know God.
Yeah. It shows by actions.
100%. If you bend in front of evil, in fear of evil, you do not know God is stronger.
True.
You're lying to yourself when you're going to church on Sunday. I believe, I'm saved. My brother, if you're bending to the devil, you ain't saved.
Yeah.
So if 100 men in Dominica love their children enough, patriotic enough, everything changes.
But don't you think that is the issue right here? By we don't have families again, so to speak, in Dominica. So as a result of the lack of families, then people, especially men, don't feel like they should be responsible. Because based off, even understanding psychology.
I'm seeing more and less of it. I've seen some
No,
men
based
become much
off-
more father and some much less. I'm seeing
No,
both.
but based off psychology in itself, when it comes down to the statistics, they find places. If you look at the richer environment, you find more families in these areas.
Sure.
If you look at the poor areas, you find more single mother
Sure,
homes.
100%, sure.
So there's a breakdown.
Oh,
in the
man, yeah,
aspect
I
of
think
that.
you're 100% right.
Yeah,
Yeah, farming was the glue, 100%.
yeah.
It was the glue, it was the consideration.
And we notice a lot of this is happening in Dominica where there's less families.
Sure, but I think farming in general is the first threat that Skerritt saw
Farming.
to his power. It took 15 years to wipe out independent farmers and progressive businessmen.
I see what you're saying. The job aspect.
Right.
Yeah.
Independent farmers are a threat to a dictator because they don't
And
bow.
It still connects back to family though.
100%.
Because a man needs a job to take care of his family. If the man cannot find a job to take care of his family, what is the point of him having a family in the first place? And that breaks down the family in itself or the creation of family. And when there's no creation of family, you don't have that sense of responsibility or community where the people like, I need to protect my children. How can you protect your children if you don't have children? How can you protect your wife or your girlfriend, whatever, if you don't have that?
And I must say, there's also a sense of courage is not to be without fear. Courage is when you're afraid, but you have the willpower to still move forward. And a lot of us are under the illusion that we're supposed to not have fear. And therefore we lose courage when we have fear. We lose the will to move forward because we feel like,
So having fear isn't the issue, because I remember
No.
speaking to a number of persons and they say, Mr. Licks, I'm fearful, I'm
Right.
I'm fearful of speaking out. But it's not having the fear that is the issue, it's actually having
it's
the
missing the
courage
willpower
to do what
with
needs to be
that,
done.
that is connected to your conviction, your moral conviction about what is right, which should then be fueled by willpower. Willpower is the gasoline for all motion.
That's where action comes in.
So it's not that people stop caring or that fathers stop wanting to protect their children and all of that. But I think that we have a real misunderstanding about being we're already okay as human beings. We don't need to be superheroes to be a heroic man. To be a heroic man, you have to be a man who has the willpower to transcend your fear. Not to become something that's inhuman, like in a movie, some action hero in a movie. That's not real. I've been in Civil War. I've seen the horrors of it. And I've seen soldiers pissing themselves as they crawl forward on elbows and knees because they must go forward or their family will die in the village behind them. They showed true courage. They confronted the enemy and protected their family, saved their family, not because they weren't afraid, but because even in their fear, they knew it has to be done.
But isn't that the role of a man itself?
And women. There are women who are like that too, although it's more man.
Yeah.
But there have been some heck of a women queens and warrior queens and Empress Taitu in Ethiopia.
Yeah. People like Harriet Tubman and this kind of
Oh, that's
yeah.
a great one. Who
Yeah.
even battle hardened. That's real, you know. I think that right now is the time of gathering. I said it last time and I'll say it again. The most important thing that we Dominicans need to do right now is to gather on the weekend without drinking and start discussions about our rights and our obligations to each other.
Waters
we can drink other times. We can drink at other times. We can drink before or after, not before. We can drink after. But what I'm saying is, it's so important that we gather as people and begin to speak about what our rights are so that we can defend them, so that we're in common agreement about what rights are.
But who is going to teach them who their real rights are?
We are together. We all know
Would the
what our
people
rights
make up
are.
their own rights? Or
No, hold on.
They must be the guiding force or something.
The discussion is really natural, okay, in this way. Human rights are very basic things, whether it's property, rights of body, not to be interfered with, rights for water, rights to be safe in your home. We all agree on these things. We all individually know these things, but we never gather to talk about, we should write this down on paper as a Dominican Bill of Rights, so that if there was a reason to, we are in agreement about defending our neighbor against oppression, or ourselves, or our cousin. We're not going to turn our back anymore because that right is not just his, it's my right too.
But isn't that what the Constitution is about?
That's and making a Bill of Rights is the first step in that direction. Is exactly what I'm saying. That we got into this kunu munu regime thing because we don't have clarity as a people about what we deserve as human beings.
They don't know their rights.
That's right. And deserving, we deserve. We deserve far better than what we're getting.
But we're reaching on another interesting topic though. Deserving.
Oh, right. The use of the word deserve may catch a hiccup.
How do you know what you deserve?
When I talk about deserve, I mean human rights.
But okay, human rights. We have human rights.
Yes.
In different places, human rights mean different for different people, you know.
There's some little degree. I'd say on the main lines we all agree. It's like every religion has
you get my drift. Once you talk about religion, you get my drift.
No, but every religion, no matter how many different theologies, there's certain tenets that'll be the same. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Do not murder. Do not steal. Do not bear. Do not. Right. So there may be some cultures that have particular rights that we haven't thought of because they have maybe a different situation from environment or something. But the basic tenets of human rights, right? Not to be deprived of your freedom, not to be imprisoned without charge, not to have your land taken without without being paid or whatever. Not
your situation.
Okay, or not to be deprived of water, or rights of education, or rights. Sure.
As you going on, the thought came to mind about land being taken, and I remember a particular guy. The thought that came to mind was, are other people's land being taken and not getting paid? But then the thought also came to mind where an individual reached out to me, actually posted it on my reaction channel, where
there's people in Wesley still.
Yeah, there's a guy who lives overseas. He lives in Antigua but has land in Dominica, or the area that they took, and they were sending in calls or whatever for the land and stuff, and he was waiting to get paid. But it seems like he indicated to me, it seems like they thought he was an old man. And the reason why they thought he was an old man, I guess, because of his name. And I guess they were waiting for him to die so that they can take the land without compensation. That's what he told me. This is not something I make up. This is what he told me.
And there's the people in Wesley right now who are fighting for their rights to finally be paid for land that's been taken.
Yeah, there's another person in the Wesley region that has a business, and they haven't been paid for that at all.
Buzz, sure. Sure, my good brethren.
Yeah. It's interesting what is going on.
Look, we have no rights at the moment.
We have no rights at the moment, or we choose not to exercise our rights at the moment.
No, that's a better way to say it. Okay, we are not accorded rights. Okay, our rights are not respected by the regime at this moment. Okay. Let me say that properly. Forgive me. This regime in no way respects our citizen rights at all. Once they're in conflict with the Chinese political agenda, Guess who wins? It ain't our rights, it's the agenda. Even where they're now opening that land for put another crusher in Debranche, they haven't paid for that land yet. And now it's a new land dispute coming for another land they've now taken.
But let me ask you, how is it supposed to be? Is it supposed to be where the government says, okay, I want to take your land?
They
and
can't
you
start
say,
a project
okay,
before they make agreement.
They need to pay you first for it.
Not necessarily full payment. That depends on the thing. But before they even break ground, there has to be an agreement signed with the property owner on how they will be paid. So they may not have been fully paid on the day when they break ground. But that agreement has
Something
to
like
be
a promissory
signed
note.
Yeah, it could be that. But that it's an acquisition agreement. It's under the Land Acquisition Act, I believe, Section 6. But it's the acquisition of land is statutory. It's declared in law. There's a process of paperwork and agreement that has to happen before they could then use that land under eminent domain, which is the way they're doing it, right? Public use, eminent domain. Okay. They're not doing that at all. Maybe they're doing that with their supporters. I don't know. But they're certainly not doing it with a whole lot of people in Wesley. They certainly have not done it with me. The level of devastation is just that's why I think they don't want to go to court and they're trying this thing and why they're corrupting lawyers to not get it filed, because they have no way to justify what they're doing. They didn't follow their own statutory process.
But you mentioned something there, and the thought came to mind on the lawyer situation. The lawyers are supposed to represent the people based of law. The government is supposed to act based of law. People in authority are supposed to act based of the very law that put them in the positions that they're in, quote unquote. So why isn't that happening? And if it's not happening,
Supposed to isn't his.
huh?
Because supposed to
It's supposed to.
is not reality.
So what? So if the lawyers are supposed to act in the best interest of the people, the government is supposed to act in the
We
best
had this
interest.
conversation last time about lawyers and bourgeoisie protecting their economic class, remember?
Yeah.
Same
but,
thing.
but I mean, so is there no restitution? Is there no solution to
Yeah,
this
there's
problem?
solutions. There's solutions.
What would be your
Getting the-
solution? Let me ask you that. What do you think would be your solution? Because last time we had this
a
conversation.
lawyer who's from outside of Dominica, who comes and represents our case here, which is what we're doing.
So you're actively doing this right now?
Yeah, I
Okay.
will call no names to protect all interests.
No, you mentioned a while ago that you don't have the kind of funds.
That's right.
So
And
how
I'm
are
desperate
you-
actually to set up a Patreon account so that if people would contribute, it would be greatly helpful. 'Cause I
so you
get
have a
wiped out.
Patreon right now?
I'm actually having my son set up a Patreon
Okay.
account, which hopefully you'll be able to put in your links
Yeah,
or whatever.
I'll put it in the first
If
comment
ever
once you
people
get
would
it,
like
yeah.
to assist, greatly appreciate it. So that we can hire, which is really expensive, a lawyer who is not corrupted, who is
But
outside of our system.
why does one have to seek an outside lawyer or find it
in a
very
dic-
difficult?
Because in a dictatorship, the dictator controls
So
the
you think
justice
we're in a
system.
dictatorship here in Dominica?
If we don't have rights and the citizens' rights are not being respected and the law is not being respected and the leader is doing whatever he wants, that is a dictator by definition. I mean, a government governs by law.
Should be.
But that's the definition. If you look it up, government, to govern by
Governed
law.
by law. Yeah.
Right, to government. But we're not doing that. And he himself has stated over and over again that he's above that. But so if you're just ruling by raw power, you're a dictatorial regime. You're ruling by decree or by raw power.
Has the Prime Minister ever came to you on your situation? I know there's other situations.
No, and he knows about it, I'm sure. And he knows who I am because he's when I've seen him this one time getting on a plane the other time in the airport, he actually called me by name, so I know he knows who I am.
You call you Guaye?
No, he said, Mr. Shargle. How are you,
okay.
Mr. Shargle? And I said, I'd be doing much better if you'd stop destroying the river. And then I kept going. And then
So why didn't you just explain more? Well,
because his two bodyguards sitting behind him looked like they wanted to shoot me, but we were on a plane, so I figured maybe just cut my losses and go
I
down.
would not care about that. No,
Right,
whether your
understood,
bodyguard or
understood.
not, I
Okay.
do.
But,
But I get you.
I have tried to have meetings with him in which he's refused to have meetings with when the lawyer reached out to him, when other representatives of me have reached out. He sends his representatives, but he won't sit down with me yet.
Have you ever decided to go to the financial center and see if he's around and have a meeting?
Not over this matter.
Okay.
Not over this matter. But again, I mean, should we have to go and kneel at the throne of the dictator to have our rights? I mean, if there's a structure, a system in which there's, I don't know, commissioner of land and survey. So if you have a land and survey issue, probably that's who you deal with.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean? Like all the actual, whether you go to the police, but the police tell me, well, it's the Chinese, we can't do anything. So it all boils.
That's great.
So when I say we're in a dictatorship, it's right. So I hate the idea of going and bowing to a devil that knows what he's doing, who only seeks to have people bow in front of him so his megalomania can
Maybe he
be
doesn't
stroked.
know.
Of course he knows.
I'm just playing the devil's advocate here. Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe the situation hasn't reached to him yet. Maybe
I'm a 6'10" black guy with wings.
Well, you could be.
No way.
In this
Maybe
day and age,
I can fly.
you identify.
My brother, for the amount of times that I have been on Matt, that I have called him out, that we have, I mean, I know the man, he knows me. Okay? Only by willful ignorance and a whole lot of drugs could he not know, and I don't believe either one is the case. He knows. He knows. But when somebody lives within their ego and their power and they're called to task when somebody says, you have wronged me, do they make good?
Well, they should.
You love that word should or supposed to. I'm talking about reality.
You know,
Does a rapist apologize?
the R. Yeah, you can say.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Does somebody
Yeah. Abuser.
right? Does an abuser apologize until he gets caught and is waiting to be sentenced, and then suddenly he's got contrition? Scarrett and his coven enjoy what they're doing to us because it makes them feel powerful. They wanted power. They did anything to obtain power. Now they have power.
You have to maintain it.
They're enjoying their sadism. If you're a healthy man like you are, you feel good about yourself when you achieve something, when you accomplish something, when you do good something. You feel good. But let's say you're somebody who doesn't like themselves, who doesn't know that they're a blessed person.
Low self-esteem.
Then you feel good when you trick somebody. Then you feel good when you get over on somebody, when you put foot on somebody.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what these guys are doing. So they're trying to break anybody in opposition. They're trying to break anybody who criticizes
They
them.
came from down here. Everybody was up here, probably looking down on them.
They
Now
thought-
they're up
they thought,
here,
right.
and now they can look down instead
Right.
of saying, "I'll be the bigger man." No, I'm gonna
Instead
look
of
down.
brotherhood. Instead of brotherhood. Who criticized corruption of UWP more than them? And in the reality after it was jealousy.
Yeah.
And they said, can you top this? They want more. We need leaders who love. We need leaders who actually love people. Not people who love power.
That is a debatable one, though, on leaders that love.
Really?
Because sometimes people who love are taken advantage of.
Oh, there's strong love, brother.
So
I'm
I
a
think
father.
probably you have to
I can
define-
love my child while I punish and correct him. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I love my children and when I know what's better for them, I will ignore their complaint about why it's not a good thing because they don't know better
Yeah.
to make sure they get better.
So maybe that's what scary things, that people don't know better.
There's no way that you can sell out sovereignty and believe it's for your people. You keep trying. I mean, it's very kind of you. You're trying to find some good reason for what he's doing.
But I'm not finding good reason. I'm just playing it.
I understand. You believe. I don't think you believe that at all.
I mean, come
I'm
on.
saying as devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I'm saying, I'm just. I mean, I'm thinking, okay, the best analogy to this really is an abusive relationship.
But then you know what they say about that, though?
That the woman sought it out
No, they keep going back.
until they get therapy.
Yeah, but therapy says about 3 or 4 times they keep going back to the abuse until.
Oh, you're trying. Okay, but
So maybe that's what happened.
I know a lot of people that left their abuser and made a new life. You know,
But the general scope, they keep going back. That's what the statistic shows.
I don't know. I don't know if the majority of people who have been in a dysfunctional thing repeat it. I don't know.
I've also heard.
But I think it's off topic. I mean, my point is that
No, I'm saying
Right.
that could be well, therapy is definitely needed. And how do you therapeutize a whole nation of people
Bill of
who are
Rights.
being consistently being
Bill of
beaten?
Rights.
But the very people who are in need of therapy are the ones who need to create the Bill of Rights, though.
Yes.
So how do you?
My point being, maybe I'm not saying it right. My point being, like, by building up people's self-esteem,
Who builds up the people's self-esteem? Other people.
yeah, and people like
The
me,
very
other
people
elders,
who
other
are-
Ross, people who actually have love in their community, who reason with the youth, who try to instill confidence in them, who show them that they are actually blessed and they are actually kings and queens and should not be peasants and such. To get rid of illusion and lie and help people build confidence so they can have healthy self-esteem is the community treatment that allows them to gather, which allows them to feel reinforced by their sense of rights, okay, which allows them to stand up to this kind of abuse. So the therapy is actually the community activity that we're doing. I'm not saying we're successful all the time, but I'm saying, but that's what needs to be done, is that people have to be built up in their self-esteem, and people have to not accept the lie that something is wrong with them, because that's how an abuser does it. The abuser makes you feel like if you weren't with him, you could be with no one else, because there's something wrong with you, when in fact it's the abuser that's the abuser. So the victim becomes like the Stockholm syndrome stuff and all of that.
But I think one of the ways you have to escape this is you have to actually realize that the abuser is the abuser.
100%.
Because there are some people, I'm referencing certain aspects of trauma, where certain women who left their abuser go to somebody else, and if they are not treated in the way that the abuser used to treat them, for example, there are women who believe that if you don't beat them, you don't love them.
Yep. There's a lot of people that believe if you don't beat your children the way you were beaten, then they'll go astray, even though they remember their childhood in horror from the beatings they got. So part of this is, the inheritance of the fear of the whip, replication of oppression on somebody to seek that they don't get the greater oppression from who you fear, whether it's a real danger or not. That's part of it. It's real.
But fear sometimes is necessary, though.
Fear is definitely necessary.
So that's why I
separating
think
fear, but hold on, separating rational fear from irrational fear is really necessary.
Yeah.
That's the key part. The key part is you should be afraid of things you should be afraid of, and not be distracted by things that you shouldn't be afraid of. Like the classic snake analogy we spoke of last podcast. You're afraid of snakes, but the snake wouldn't bite you. So you kill the snake, but the snake was about to eat a rat, and you die from lepto because the rat just gave you a disease.
Yeah.
The rat was the danger, but you were afraid the snake, who actually would have protected you from the rat. So we have to identify what are the right fears, right? We should not be afraid of what our neighbor thinks of us. We should be afraid what God thinks of us.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be afraid of falling down. We should be afraid of not moving forward.
Not getting up.
You know what I'm saying? we have a tremendous, I said last time, we have a huge peer pressure problem on the island, you know, which makes it really hard to innovate, you know, to move away from the herd, so to speak. You have to be very self-confident to do that. And we need to build people with that kind of self-confidence, because that's what allows people to problem solve.
And I believe that's one of the things that I try to do with my videos.
I can see that.
But there's still the point where people message me and tell me that they're still fearful of even speaking out. And
Right.
so how do you get people to gain that confidence so that they are able to, despite the fear, still speak out?
I think we gain confidence. Okay, fear is contagious, courage is contagious. You're afraid to do something, you see somebody, your neighbor, somebody else doing it, and you watch closely to see what happens to them. So hopefully that person stays strong enough, and then that other person finds the confidence through your example. You know, maybe let's say, okay, so I challenge the Chinese about what they've done and the murders they've committed. And now maybe they get riled up because they don't want the truth coming out. And then they decide now, do we punish him? Do we try to make sure people are more afraid so that they don't rise up? Or do we not punish him because people's reaction may be outrage after the truth came out, seeing the person punished for saying the truth?
And they themselves are fearful to come out because of what has happened.
Right? So if they weren't doing wrong, we wouldn't have any of these problems. We would not be having these discussions if Scarrett wasn't evil. We would not be having these discussions if the Chinese actually had any affection for the Dominican people as a nation. We'd have none of these discussions. You know why? Because after 23 years, we would have benefited by their presence.
And to encroach on your land and to take away from your livelihood and to keep you down.
As if I'm not a human being. As if my children don't deserve their land when I die. As if the water, which is not mine, Marigot people for hundreds of years have had the blessing of that river, and now it's gone. Oh, and by the way, where they're doing in Debwanche, the new crusher, you know they destroyed the water source there?
Well, they've been destroying the water source all over the place.
After Maria, the only water source for people on that side, Carib territory from Horsehead Ridge coming down towards Concord, and from Concord, that was the only water source we had. To get water when there was no water, remember, for a long time after Maria that was clean, the rivers was destroyed. So now if a hurricane comes, where do we go to get water? Please tell me, because it don't exist no more. So we shouldn't be taking too much time asking these questions while they destroy us. There's enough evidence that we are being wiped out by what's happening.
But you know what the main problem here is?
Courage. Sorry.
Courage. Courage is the problem.
I'm stuck.
Yeah. No, I think the reason, what you're saying there is a lot of people don't seem to realize, hey, it's not happening to me. It's happening to you, so why should I care? It's not my business.
Right. It's about to burst out on them Debwanche.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Right.
They don't see it as a problem until it affects them.
Right. What a terrible.
And I've been seeing this a lot in the hospital. There are a number of people that could have been alive today.
Boy.
If the hospitals had the necessary equipment. I lost my friend.
I lost my adoptive mother from the quarantine thing, from the same thing.
And I'm sure a number of persons listening have lost their friend as well. When the hospital could have had certain things that could keep these people alive or to stabilize them to send them over.
I know it's terrible to say this, but it's the truth. And they say the truth is an offense, but not a sin. If we all died tomorrow, the Chinese would celebrate. Because it's not about us. They want what is here. They don't want us. Look how they watch us. Look how they treat us. Look how they disrespect us. Look how they come on our land and treat us like they're on their land.
But you see, I still have a problem with that though.
I watch them do it.
I still have a problem. The reason why I'm saying this is because it is what our leaders have allowed to happen
100%,
to us.
I totally agree.
So I don't blame the Chinese for wanting betterment wherever
totally
they
agree.
get it.
Totally agree. And when we remove the regime, we don't have to fight the Chinese. The idea is to remove this regime and then get rid of the colonizer, escort them to the port, get out. We should not be killing Chinese. We should not, I'm not saying to kill anybody, don't nobody misunderstand me. What I'm saying is we don't need to get into conflict with the Chinese. We need to remove the regime.
That's why I don't think the Chinese is a problem.
They are, no, hold on a second.
Because there is, okay.
The pool ball is pool ball. If you put the pool ball on the tree, it's going to yam the tree. If you put the pool ball in your house, it's going to yam the house.
If you tell them
so
not
you
there,
can blame them.
If you tell them not there, they go in, they cannot go there.
If you spray the house, they're not coming there.
They cannot
if I put old oil on the wood, they're not coming there.
They cannot.
Okay, so 100%. But these two,
because the reason why I'm saying, before you continue, the reason why I'm saying is because I'm also thinking of Grenada as well. Grenada has China in them.
Yep.
But the way China cannot do the same thing they do
because
in
we're
Grenada
the
and
only one
Dominica.
they were able to take lock, stock, and barrel control of an entire country by installing the prime minister. In no other country in the Caribbean were they that successful in their takeover project. It is here they were able to completely take over a country. It is here that they are building a military base to enable them to invade Taiwan when they're ready.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. But, you know what I'm saying? So, of course, it's to different levels of infiltration. It's like what they did in Nigeria with the deep seaport, right? And the Nigerians
Jamaican
got wise.
port as well.
100%. So they're doing this all over.
But that's because they are the leaders
Greedy
have allowed them
politicians.
to do these things.
Because who wants to be a politician? Most of them is not because they have a great idea of how to help their people.
And to help themselves.
Because most of them really like the idea of power and they want power. My grandfather told me, if a man wants to be president, he should never be.
Yeah. I think that goes
You
for all
want
parts
power,
of leadership.
All power. If you, look, you have to convince Moses to do his due. You have to convince, you know what I mean? Because he's like, oh my God, no way. Right?
A bush had to catch fire.
No way, why me? No. So, look, I don't even vote for politicians. I vote for policies.
Me too.
Right? I don't care what my doctor looks like. You could be ugly as sin, but if you're a good heart surgeon, save my life, please.
Yeah.
I don't want a beautiful heart surgeon who's going to kill me.
Yeah. Or dimples.
Or dimples, right? And I don't go to a mechanic for how tall or short he is. I go to a mechanic because he can fix cars.
Yeah.
Okay. We need to look at ourselves as in our communities and big up the value that is there. Instead of still believing that somebody is going to come with a lot of money or a lot of program or a lot of idea or a lot of project from somewhere else
Palestine.
and love us more than we love ourselves and just shower us with blessings. That ain't going to happen. That's a dream. That's like when the girl leaves her little town and wants to go to Los Angeles to be a Hollywood actress and the pimp is waiting in the bus station.
Yep.
And he says, honey, I'll bring you to a studio.
Yeah.
We are good enough to lead ourselves. We are good enough, smart enough, wise enough, talented enough people that we don't need China, Russia, America, Europe to be our daddy. What we need is countries like Burkina Faso and others to be our trading partners. We need partners. We don't need a new father.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's self-esteem issues. And by the way, this PM of ours has more self-esteem issues than all of our children put together.
You could tell when he was growing up.
100%.
It's just interesting that, I mean, sometimes when we speak about certain things, I'm not thinking that people don't really see it like the way we see it. I think they might say it, but they lack the confidence or the self-esteem to actually follow it with action.
We are born blessed. I know Christians like to say we're born in sin. I don't think so. That's me. But I know that we're blessed.
I think so.
I know. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. I don't believe that anybody else is responsible for a person's sins than themselves.
Agreed.
And so I don't believe a child is guilty until he does something at the age of reason. When he's over 8 or 9 years old and he knows what he's doing, then you can talk about sinning. But no innocent child is guilty. A baby's innocent.
Thinking, as you're saying that day, I remember My little cousin was like probably like a year and a half, 2 years around that time. You would say that's around innocent years, right? She
Up until about 7, 8, 9 years.
7, 8, 9. But you would tell her not to start, just not to touch a particular thing, and she would watch you
And then go touch it.
and touch it.
Right.
No, she's watching you to see how you react.
Sure. 100%.
And then you tell her not to touch it.
Right.
And then she will be like, and then watching you and like,
Right. But
doesn't that indicate that there's some level of,
there's a level of intellect, not a level of reasoning. When we say the age of reasoning, is to understand two things. One, physical consequences of actions, and the other is moral consequences. So the child at that stage is just trying it out to figure it out, if I do A, then B happens. If I do this, then that happens.
well, there's that.
Right? This person likes what I'm doing.
No, but there's that too. But there's also the aspect where she knows that she's going to disobey you. So she's
Yes,
watching.
but that's not the point. The point is disobeying means what? Nothing to a baby. It's just trying it out.
Yeah, but she still knows she's disobeying.
Yes.
So
But
that's a
different.
level of
No,
of
I'm
what
trying
you
to
call
make it a
sin.
thing. No, it's different. It's like the understanding of consequences, not in the sense of if I do this he gets angry, but in the sense of if I do this, this is why I shouldn't do this. This is what would happen to me. Those long-term things come from after the age of reason. Before that, you will know what somebody's saying not to do, and you'll know you're doing something that they told you not to do. But just like my children, when they don't know why yet. They're not old enough to play it out in their head and to know how that rolls out over time. So yeah, you tell a child, don't put your finger in the electrical socket, right? The kid, just for playing sake, may do it just to see your reaction. Because they see a dramatic reaction, they may even laugh at that. They don't know, they just almost died. You know what I mean? They have no connection in their baby brain that electricity is dangerous. What they're reacting to is you telling them no.
I think it has a lot to do with the understanding that they know that they're disobeying. Because you talk about the
That they
action,
have. That
and
they
then
have.
there's the consequence. The
Right.
consequence, hey, don't do this, don't do this. She try by watch you like, and then she see you get angry, so she stop. Then maybe you're not there. She decide I'm gonna do it anyways, and then she touches it and shocks. Then she figures out there's a consequence
That's
to
right.
it.
Right now. Now she gets that consequence.
But there's the action of disobeying the parent.
Right. She does. Hold on. But it's interesting in child psychology. Not every child makes that connection one time.
Because
Sometimes
they're
they have to do
slower
it-
people, yeah.
Sometimes they have to do it twice. Some child puts the soap in his mouth one time, would never freaking do that.
But it's interesting that we're talking about children.
yeah.
What about the adults that keep doing things over and over and over and over the same thing?
The definition
Probably
of
voting for the
insanity.
same person over and over, expecting a different result. Isn't that like the same thing? They don't seem to understand, even though there's a
You no
consequence.
longer have excuses for it.
Humans
You're
are
past the age of
interesting, you
reason.
know.
You're past the age of reason. It's no longer the same issue. Now.
Because if you're doing something, it's one thing when that child touches the thing and gets shocked, you know the consequence. But humans getting shocked over and over, and adults, let me not say humans, children are humans. Adults getting shocked over and over and over.
Question becomes, what do they in their mind think is the alternative possibilities?
Maybe they think it wouldn't shock them this time.
I don't mean that. What do they in their mind believe are the other possible choices they could make? And that's where we get into self-esteem issues. So if somebody thinks, no matter who's the leader, it's going to be the same thing. Or when he thinks, well, of course he takes money for himself. I would too if I was up there. Of course everybody does. Because you can't conceive of somebody who's honest. You know, them kind of things. So what we have is more that dynamic than like people who don't see that they're getting shocked every time. What they're
No, they
doing-
don't see. They feel they're getting
feel.
shocked. They know for a fact they're getting shocked.
They're like, it's like they tell themselves that that's like a normal pain that they need to endure.
Because they feel if they go somewhere else, they're going to get shocked too.
Worse pain. You know, like when he says, the abuser, we go back to the same analogy.
Yep.
If you weren't with me, at least I give you a bed to sleep in. Yeah, I put blows on you when
give
you
you a
move,
stove.
but at least you have a roof over your head.
Yeah.
Boy, you're worthless and you're ugly and you're fat, and if it wasn't me, you'd have nobody. You should. And so the lady takes the blows. If her esteem is low enough.
This actually happened in real life,
thousands and thousands and millions of times.
Bro, it happened thousands. I'm talking about in Dominica. This has happened
Many times.
There's a guy who got a house, and when he was giving his speech, he said he wished they beat him earlier, or they beat him more for him to get a bigger house. We're talking about, bro. This is reality.
I know. This is the country where people actually boast the fact that nobody can teach them nothing.
Oh.
It's the only country I've ever lived in when a man boastfully, with pride and in his eyes, says to me, "Nobody can teach me nothing."
That sentiment is on a global scale. I can tell from
attitude is, but I've never heard anybody say it blatantly.
Being proud, I guess you're talking
right,
about.
That's what I'm saying. Like many people are like that, but I never heard nobody say it outright. Like it was okay. Piero, before he died, said the only true thing I've ever heard a politician actually say in Dominica that I found real was when he said, "We wear our ignorance like a badge of honor."
Yeah.
And that's the example. I mean, that's what that was what that was. He's wearing his ignorance.
But it's a fact. It's a definite fact in Dominica.
Yeah, and he doesn't realize when somebody does that, they don't realize that they're admitting how little they think of themselves.
Yeah. Self-esteem.
Right. They don't realize that it's like, really, buddy? You don't know how blessed your brain is that you could become anything from this point on? That you could achieve, learn,
do the impossible.
Do what you think is impossible and make it possible and believe how great you are because you did it.
As you saying that there, I remember my situation back in the day where I started doing videography. We're doing podcasts right now. Okay. Back in the day, people used to laugh at me and say, "Oh, this is what you're doing. We're doing podcasts right now." It's not just that though. But I remember one of the guys that were laughing at me, and he's like, you will never, do nothing of that sort. And then I remember coming back to Dominica, and he saw some of the things I was doing because I ended up in Silicon Valley, California. I was actually in the headquarters of YouTube. In California, Silicon Valley, had a meeting. My friend who brought me said, "You need to do this." When they saw me, they opened the door. I didn't even have to knock. I didn't have to knock. I go inside. So when I came back down, that the same guy who was laughing at me said, "Miss Slicks, you have done something nobody else ever in Dominica has ever done.
Congratulations.
And I respect you for that." The same man is... I can just picture that right there. That was phenomenal, man. That was phenomenal. So the impossible, I mean, it's not something that is hard to get if you are willing to do something about it.
We
if
have
you're willing to take the action.
all over the world doing
the risk
every
factor,
kind of thing.
Yeah. Willing to take the risk and just do something. And
do you know how many men in country in Dominica who started with nothing?
I know quite a number
built
of
up
them.
their farms, whose all their children are diploma doctors and engineers, who have become beekeepers, not just farmers, who then went from there to learning all kind of other things, and they're still farming, but now they're expanded out. My brother.
I remember a friend of mine, bro, that I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking of him. I saw him post his stuff. Brandon Roberts. He's in Canada right now. He's, and he gave his story where his mother was taken out, when he was a little boy, and his father was involved in, certain things, and they thought that he would never amount to anything.
That's right.
Today he's receiving all sorts of awards and all sorts of accolades of just being in the very thing that...
Albert Einstein's teachers thought he was retarded.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about?
There's a reason why you have the expression, "the stone that the builder refused will be the head cornerstone."
Facts.
Is we like to look at the roof. We like to look at the decorations. We like to look at a tree without ever thinking of the roots that hold it up from underground.
Yeah.
We are the root. And we've kind of... I don't know, I feel like it's really weird because I so admire Dominica and the courage we had before, the independence, the consideration for each other, which was really unique in the world.
You said the courage Dominica had before independence?
The courage and independence that we had before. Not before independence. I wasn't here then.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Right, I understood.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, the greatest thing in the world is to be self-determined. whether as an individual, whether as a family, a community, or a country. The greatest thing in the world is to feel like you have control over your life. And that's the one
Independence.
the one most significant thing that scared has taken away from us is the ability to be independent men and women who control our future. There is no replacement for that. You can't tell me that somebody from another country is going to give me a gadget or a machine or a tool or something that's going to give me freedom or that's going to give me self-determination. But you've now taken that away from a country that was the most free country of the 17 I've lived in and replaced it with colonization by the most controlling non-free country in the world, China. And for 20 years and more, they're trying to tell us all the nice things they're doing. I don't need a government to make parties or concerts. I need a government to provide education for my children, health care, infrastructure, and to get the heck out of our way when we are developing economically if they're not contributing. If they're contributing and creating things to help us go in the right direction, great. But government is not supposed to be involved in employment. They're supposed to be like NEP. They're supposed to be involved in policy that would create employment in the private sector.
You sound like a classic liberal.
But China doesn't have a private sector. Nobody owns land in China. Nobody is a private landowner in China. Dominica had most private ownership of land of any Caribbean nation. There's nothing somebody could bring in so-called development that's worth giving up that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, man. But I think the way we can actually move forward is it's up to the people.
Yep.
Where the people decide, hey, enough is enough, and we need to definitely make that change.
Patriots.
Patriots,
not
your
partisans.
situation, I think you probably need to go financial sector. Whether you there or not, make sure you go there and try to see if you can make something happen, because it just seems like it's just gonna continue. I mean, I'm not saying that something might come out from it, but at least go in there. You know, what else can you do?
What I want is to have this case filed. The Commissioner of Land and Survey himself, after lying to me for 2.5 years and coming and saying he's ready to make an agreement, just told me take it to court. So I'd like to take it to court.
Yeah.
I want it filed. And when the public sees the level of criminality, because the amount of documentation I have is huge, I would like to know if this government, this regime, is going to give me justice.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go and crawl to the dictator ask for my rights.
For sure.
I'm not going to go beg him for my rights. That's not... What is my rights is your rights. Once you're a citizen of a country, it's your rights. You don't have to beg a politician to give you what is your own rights when he's taking them away.
I feel you.
You know? No. I'm sorry. He's not a god. He will never be a god to me. He could be a leader, but he's not. He's chosen his path.
It's just unfortunate, man. It's just unfortunate.
It is.
It's for your land.
It's for my land. It's for
what you have rights to.
You know, and beyond that, I'm watching the echo side of the wet area of jungle inside by me there, and that's irreplaceable. It's terrible for my land. It's terrible for me individually, and it's terrible for my family. But Lord knows, it's terrible for the whole country because they're destroying the interior of the island irreversibly. It can't come back. The one precious thing we had better than every other country was water.
Yeah.
And they're destroying every clean water source we have.
Well, I mean, they probably know this, and that's why they bring in so much more foreign waters outside. We have Antigua, St. Vincent, we have Jamaica, Trinidad. We have all sorts of water here.
If only we loved ourselves as much as we seem to love outside there. It's ourself we have to love.
Yeah.
We had beautiful communities. I had never been in a country where nobody was hungry.
Yeah.
Even the most mad, crazy head fella had somebody in his family making sure they left enough food. Now, kind people are turning rageous against their neighbor because both of them are frustrated and frightened.
Oh, yes. Mm.
And they were good people who just lost their mind and don't know what to do because we have no leadership.
So it sounds, based on what you're saying there, songs like circumstances change people.
100%.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that's who they are. It's circumstance that...
Man, economics changes people. Put any people, any ethnicity, any race in a ghetto, you have the same problem.
Yeah.
Deprive any young men of work and opportunity, you have the same problem.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Right? The most dangerous thing in the world is a country that's filled with unemployed, young, angry men. With all that energy and nothing to do.
Well, are they angry enough?
The question is, how do you focus the anger so they don't destroy each other? The Chinese are counting on the fact that as we get more desperate, we become more violent to each other, and then at the end game is they bring in their security forces to lock it down.
Or they bring in RSS.
First stage RSS, but after, because they want it all under Chinese control, just like the banking, they'll use their own political forces and military forces.
But as you're saying that, I'm surprised the Chinese don't have a bank in Dominica.
They're building one.
Where?
On Canefield.
Oh, what's it called?
I don't know the name. But for the first building that we're going to use is the one that when you're coming down to the main road, when you're coming down from Upper Canefield to join the main road, just across from V-Supply, the building on the left there. But from information I've been given, they've changed buildings because I outed them on Matt when I knew that that was going to be a bank. That's the only reason they're leaving Republic Bank open still.
Okay.
Once they finish that, they'll close out Republic Bank so that we can't get MoneyGram or Western Union. Because the only reason we can is with the SWIFT code. And to get the SWIFT code, you need one of those foreign banks. NBD is already controlled by the Chinese banking system. So
That stuff is another...
Yeah, it's a whole other story.
Allegedly. Anyways, before we leave to wrap up, man, do you have anything else you want to say in conclusion?
Well, it's on a personal thing. I really ask anybody out there who cares, is interested, would like to help, to please check out the link that we will put so that we can pay an uncorruptible lawyer to actually represent the case and get it heard finally after these years. And I thank you very much for your time. And I know we went on all kinds of subjects and straight all around here, but I thank you for your time. I also, I saw in the comments that a lot of people who had appreciated the first podcast we had done gave me the idea to try to do my own podcast so I can talk about some other issues, big picture issues. And I'd call it GUAYHD for human development. And I'd like for people to leave in the comments section if they think that's a good idea, if they would like me to do that. If I see that there's comments supporting the idea, I'd beg your help to set that up. And I'd like to run that. Yeah. So please let me know if anybody out there thinks that they would like that. I'd love to do it. Yeah. Blessings.